Hello everyone, welcome to Katie's Bookshelf. I'm Katie. Thank you for joining me today. I've got, as well as the books, I have a cat here. One of the cats has decided to show an interest in what I'm doing and she has appeared. I doubt you'll probably see her on screen, but Poppy is here in spirit around us. She's taken an interest in the wire, so I'm hoping the camera doesn't just take a little tumble part way through. And if you can hear me over her purring, it might be the noise of the wind outside because it's a stormy day, but you know, today's the day I've got to do filming, so it's going to happen today. Okay, so we've got 4 books that we're going to look at today. I had mentioned that I planned on talking about these 3 when I did my last video. But I also spotted this one. This is one that I read recently that I wanted to mention. That is The Cat. Yep. That I wanted to mention to you, so I will talk over this one as well. I think I'm going to start with The Lighthouse Witches though. So we've got The Lighthouse Witches. Look how beautiful that book is. It just catches the light, this blue. It's gorgeous. It's by Carolyn Jess Cooke, and I read this over Halloween. I think I started it at Halloween and then read it just after. It did not take me long to get through. I was hooked, I was interested. So this is a gothic thriller. It's about witches, it's about folklore, it's set in on a remote Scottish island, all things that I would love. So yeah, it was a good book. It follows the life of a lady called Liv Stay and her 3 children. So in the middle of the night she takes her girls to this island where she's been commissioned this job to do like a mural on the wall of a lighthouse. And she arrives in the middle of the night and there's little clues that there's something going on. I mean, they all arrive with their things in bin bags, as in it's like a last minute thing. So there's little things all the way through and you're kind of trying to work out what's going on. It doesn't just follow Liv. We've got this arrival on the island and things, there are characters you come across and you're constantly kind of judging them and thinking, oh, are they what they seem? You're always kind of watching every one of the characters that you come across. It's also follows different time periods. So we've got this arrival on the island in 1998, but then you've also got the story from the point of view of one of the daughters, Luna, running in, I think it's 2021. So we've got these 2 different time periods that we keep jumping between. And whilst at the lighthouse, some of the family vanish, never to be seen again. And we're then obviously dealing with Luna's life of having her family missing. So you're jumping between the 2, trying to find out what actually happened. There's lots to do with the witch trials that happened in the area. So there's lots to do with history, and at certain points it even jumps back into another time period, even further back during the witch trials, following the kind of like a diary format that one of the girls is reading. So you've got 3 time periods really that you jump in between, which is fab. I really enjoyed that. I did find, because in it you also hear from different points of view of one of the other daughters as well. Can't remember whether you actually hear from all of the daughters or whether it is just the 2 of them, but there's, I'm trying to remember now, but you definitely jump between the few. And at the very start I did find that a little bit hard work to try and not warm to the characters but get to know them, because there were so many similar female characters, and I mean their personalities are different, but it took me a while to get to know them, to then be able to follow and warm to them. I think I'd say, yeah, to warm to the characters. But I did, and I did really enjoy it. I was completely hooked in what was happening, trying to work out the explanation of why it was happening and the reasons behind it. It was a really interesting read, and I did, as I said, I did warm to the characters, and at the end I was crying with what actually happened, which I will not spoil for you. So I really enjoyed this. It's my first book that I've read, but I think there's a new one out. I think it might be called The Ghostwood. That's the new one, and I think she also has another book called The Nesting, and I haven't read that either. So those are books that I would definitely be looking at reading in the near future. So this one is available to buy in my shop. Okay, so my next book was supposed to be this one. However, I had a little surprise book. I wasn't quite ready to jump into the Christmas. And I was putting this onto the website, so I was sat there with my laptop getting a bit of work done, and I had a little peek inside. That little peek inside ended up me reading now 20 odd pages, and I was hooked. I really was. It is the second of his books, the first one being The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. I haven't read the first one. I was able to read this complete without, the story was not spoilt at all, so you can read this one without reading the first story. This book, I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was heartbreaking in places. I cried quite a bit. I'll read the blurb for you, give you an idea. Okay, so Eddie's journey to heaven taught him that every life matters. In this magical sequel, Mitch reveals Annie's story. So Eddie is the character that I think the first story is based upon. And Eddie and Annie's paths cross in that first book, and then this book focuses on Annie's story. So injured, scarred and unable to remember why, Annie's life is forever changed by a guilt-ravaged mother who whisks her away from the world she knew. Bullied by her peers and haunted by something she cannot recall, Annie struggles to find acceptance as she grows up. When, as a young woman, she reconnects with her childhood love, she believes she's finally found happiness. But when her wedding night ends in a horrific accident, Annie finds herself on her own heavenly journey, and an inevitable reunion with Eddie, one of the 5 people who will show her how her life mattered in ways she could not have imagined. It was such an easy read. It really was. I mean, it's not a long book. It's, let me see, 213 pages long, and the chapters are nice and short and snappy. Basically, it starts with almost like a countdown to what is going to be Annie's death, and as you're kind of building towards that, you're seeing all these different possibilities. It made me feel a little bit like Final Destination, if you've ever seen that film, where you're thinking, oh, how could this happen? How could this death happen? So that's building up, and all the time it's kind of making you think, if a person makes one choice and does this instead of this, or this instead of this, it's the impact that then that has. And it could send you a bit loopy, just sat there kind of going through all the different scenarios. But it's built to her actual death, and then once she dies, she then visits 5 different people. So 5 different people, she visits them in their version of heaven, and these people all teach her a lesson, and they are people that she's come across in her life. I don't want to say too much, again, I don't want to give anything away. So she meets these 5 different people, and as you do that, you learn about her life, the reason of things that are happening, and she also learns things as well. So she discovers things about her life that she didn't know, and she sees things from different points of view. Also, periodically through the book, you'll have the odd chapter where it follows what's happening in current time. So after the accident that happens, the people that are around the accident, and how they're following up what's happened in real life. And then at the very end, it's then what happens afterwards, and there is a little bit of snippet. I have to say, I absolutely bawled my eyes out reading it, but it was such a really good book. It's quite simple, but there's a lot. It is fast paced. There's a lot of things that happen, but yeah, it's just a really nice read. So yeah, my little surprise book that I wasn't planning on reading hooked me in, and I absolutely loved it. And I can tell I loved it as well, because Mr. Bookshelf, I kept talking to him about it as well. My next book is one I read a while ago and just missed it off on my previous review, but I do want to mention this one. It is called Trash by Andy Mulligan. I do believe there is a film of it. I've not seen it, and do not know much about it, to be honest, but the book I really enjoyed. It's set in a fictional town, city, that is based on Manila in the Philippines. It's about a group of boys who live in poverty, and they live near in the trash heaps, and they spend their days hunting and sifting through trash. One day they make a discovery, they find a secret, and they keep it, thinking that try and decide what to do with it. In the meantime, the police come looking to find this secret, and things get a bit intense and they end up on the run, hiding. They've got no family really. They're on their own, these three friends, Raphael, Gardo and Rat, and they have to solve a mystery to try and fix a tragedy that has happened. So it basically follows their journey. It is a young adult's book, but there's a particular scene I remember as I was reading it thinking, oh, I'm not sure what age I'd be happy for a child to read this. So yeah, it comes with a little caution. It's a scene where it's like a violent scene of someone being beaten and kind of threatened one of the boys. So it's a really interesting read, and saying that, I do think it's a really interesting one to give people different perspective of different lives and the way different people live. So I definitely would recommend this one, not even necessarily as for a child. I really enjoyed reading it. I think I read it in about a day. I mean, it is quite a small one, but the text is fairly small. But yeah, it was an interesting read. And I'd say mostly the themes in there would be following the boys, their friendship, the community, and the determination really of them overcoming their situation and solving the problem. But yeah, it was a really interesting read, so I'd definitely recommend this one. Have you read it? Let me know. If you've seen the film, let me know if you've seen the film and if you'd recommend it. I think I did read that the film, although this is based on the Philippines, I think they might have filmed it in Brazil, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that one. So let me know if you have watched or read, and let me know what you think. But yeah, I'd definitely give this one a go. My next book is my first Christmas book of the season. I finished this a couple of weeks ago, and that's the Jenny Colgan, The Christmas Bookshop. So I am a Jenny Colgan fan, so I do enjoy reading her books, and anything that's Christmas and a bookshop, well, you've got me basically. It's everything you'd expect of a Jenny Colgan book. It's warm, it's cozy, it's got all the different Christmassy feels, and the happy ending that you'd like. Would you like me to read the blurb? I'm going to go for it. Let me know in the comments, do you want me to read the blurbs when I do my reviews, or would you rather me just talk? So, in the snowy bustling Edinburgh, a tired old bookshop needs sprucing up for Christmas. Carmen does not like accepting help, least of all from her perfect in every way older sister Sophia. But Carmen needs a job fast, and Sophia happens to know where she can find one. Mr. Macready's bookshop is in trouble. Dusty bookshelves are in disarray, and the old bell above the door hardly ever announces a new customer. If Mr. Macready doesn't turn things around by Christmas, he will be forced to sell. Carmen is its last hope. Everyone is convinced it will take a miracle to save Mr. Macready's bookshop. Even Carmen, distracted by a rather handsome visitor, doesn't believe she can save the day. But is it possible that this Christmas Carmen might surprise everyone, including herself? So, if you haven't read any Jenny Colgan books, a lot of them have characters that link from other books. You can read them as standalones, and I think there are two characters you come across in this book that are from a previous one. In fact, I do have that one. Yeah. So, The Bookshop on the Shore. So I think that might have been the first Jenny Colgan book I read. So it's got Zoe and Ramsey, and they do pop into this. It's nice because I've read that, so I know their backstory and about them, but you do not need to know that. You can read this completely without having read any other books. Basically, there's lots of books they all follow, and like they're all based in a certain area. So we've got Scottish, I think it's on the shores of Loch Ness. So you've got Scottish village Highland life, and obviously this one's Edinburgh. So we've got Ramsey and Zoe who come over from near Loch Ness, come and visit here, and that's how they pop into this story. So basically the story follows Carmen, and I have to say I didn't warm to her. I didn't really like her as a character until about halfway through the book, and she kind of rebels. She's living in the shadow of a sister who's seen as successful. She has a big house in Edinburgh, a nanny, the job, the husband, you know, the perfect so-called life. There's three main elements, I'd say. We've got the fact that it follows the relationship between her and her sister. We've got the love interest relationship, and then you've also got Mr. Macready's shop and trying to help and solve that from being closed down. So you've got those three elements of the whole story. The setting is based in Edinburgh at Christmas time, so it sounds absolutely amazing. So I definitely want to be going to Edinburgh and visiting. I've not been there before. I was supposed to go for our 10th wedding anniversary. We didn't quite make it. We had our little one was only about 1 and it was a bit too far. I didn't want to go and leave her, so we ended up going to the Cotswolds instead, a little bit closer. So yeah, maybe on the list for our next big wedding anniversary, I think. So yeah, it's definitely a beautiful place, a beautiful setting, perfect book to curl up on the sofa with a blanket and a mug of hot chocolate and enjoy, to get you in the Christmassy feeling. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. It's in my shop, available as part of a Christmas gift box actually. So my gift boxes, if you haven't seen them already, you can check out my website. The links on the page somewhere. Is basically let me see if I've got one handy. Here we go. So we've got one second. See if I can try and turn it around. Your book and bookmark, little candle. You then have 2 drink sachets, so you might choose hot chocolate, you might choose coffee, or you might choose tea, depending on whatever you prefer. And also a pack of biscuits. So you'd receive those all in the box, branded box, and then you can have that sent to yourself or as a gift to someone. I can also include a little postcard, like a little postcard with a little message written on, so that you can send it directly to someone as a gift. So yeah, please check them out. I also have children's gift boxes available, and I also have non-Christmassy book gift boxes where you can choose any of the books that I sell. So just check them out. There's a gift box section on my website. Okay. So yeah, that's one I would definitely recommend, and I knew I'd enjoy reading it, and yeah, it's what you'd expect of a Jenny Colgan book. So I think that's all of my books that I've mentioned. So let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, your thoughts, any recommendations for me. And as I mentioned, do check out my website, have a look on there. There's some good gift ideas on there, or just some little treats for yourself, Christmassy books, non-Christmassy books, and also some blind date books. So if you're looking for a book that you can't decide what book to read, you just pick the genre and I just send that to you. I think I have a couple of Christmassy ones coming soon as well, so Christmassy blind date books. I haven't added them to the site yet, but they'll be coming soon. So thanks for joining me again, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, everyone.